So last class we had completed verse number 40. So if we go back in verse number 36, Arjuna had asked a question: what drives a person to commit sin? Is it some external force or something internal? So in reply to that, Krishna had, from verse 37 to 40, Krishna emphasizes that the main enemy to karma yoga or even getting moksha is desire, kama. Because driven by desire only, people tend to commit mistakes. And when the desire becomes very strong, it deludes the person, it removes his capability of thinking. Finally, he ends up doing things which he knows are wrong. We have taken the example of Duryodhana or Ravana. They were all scholars. They knew dharma very well, but somehow they committed adharma, and the root cause was kama. Because this desire overpowered their thinking ability, and they committed adharma, even though deep within they knew what they were doing was adharma. So we had completed verse number 40. We'll read that again. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhishtana mucchate ete vimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. So in this verse we had seen how this desire has three bases: the mind, the senses, and the sense organs is the first, mind, and then the intellect. These are the three bases from which this enemy called kama operates from. And to take care of this, temporary solutions were also given by Krishna for taking care of the first base is sense organs. So if you can manage your sense organs, discipline your sense organs, you can remove certain desires. So first is you have to use your discretion to stop at the first base. The second base where kama resides is the mind, because the desire gets enlarged in the mind. As simple, what the sense organs bring in the information, when the mind works on it, it is enlarged, and finally it becomes a desire which becomes a very binding desire, through which a person, to achieve that, to fulfill that desire, may even go to adharma. And the third base is the intellect, where it deludes your discriminative power. So though you know something is right or wrong, you don't use your discriminative power and remove that desire once you know it is not good. So these are the three bases from which this desire operates, and the three solutions were also given how to remove this desire at the three bases. Now we are in the last phase of this chapter called Karma Yoga. So from 41 to 43, Krishna is going to provide a permanent solution. So he has given temporary solution in the form of how to control this desire at the three different bases. Now from 41 to 43, Krishna is going to give a permanent solution. So let us read verse number 41. Tasmat tvamindriyanya yado niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihonam jnana vijnana nashanam. So now Krishna says, by destroying the discriminative power, this enemy called desire destroys both jnanam and vijnanam. Now we should know what is jnanam and vijnanam. So initially he had given some temporary solutions how to you should control at the sensory organ level, then mind level, then intellect level. Now he is talking about how to have a permanent solution, how to remove this enemy permanently. So there are two steps. First stage is jnanam, because once you lose your discriminative power, you will lose both jnanam and what follows is vijnana. So what is jnanam? Firstly, we associate ourselves with the body and the mind. It is difficult for most of us to accept there is something other than these two. So we are driven by our body and the mind. So jnanam is nothing but there is something beyond these two, which we call as Atma or spirit or soul. In different terminologies are given to this particular aspect. So we look beyond. Jnanam is understanding that there is something beyond this body and the mind, which is called as Atma. So that is the first stage where you discover that there is a force beyond these two, which is called as Atma. So what is Atma? Is it part of the body or is it a property? So there are 5 different ways to understand what is Atma. So first we should know Atma is not a part of the body. It's not a property of the body, nor a product of the body. It pervades the entire body, like the light falling on the hand. The light is not limited to the boundary of the hand. The light pervades the entire hand, but is also there beyond the hand. And even if the hand is removed, the light continues to exist. It is not that once you remove the hand, there is no light. So it is not limited by the boundary of the hand. So these are the aspects of Atma. So we have to first understand that Atma is different from the body and the mind. Then the next stage is owning that Atma. So first is you first accept there is something beyond this body and mind, which is called Atma. So that is the first stage of understanding. How do you know that? through study of Gita and other scriptures where the nature of the Atma is given. So now, okay, now I accept Atma, but where is this Atma? Where is it located? So Vijnanam is nothing but understanding that you are that very Atma. It is not something which is externally situated somewhere. So owning up that knowledge is called Vijnanam. So first is Jnanam, understanding, first accepting there is something called an Atma, and then understanding the properties of the Atma. And in the next stage, understanding that you are that Atma. So this is how the ultimate knowledge is gained. So these two things are destroyed by desire. So once your discriminative power is destroyed, then you cannot gain Jnanam and Vijnanam, because you are not able to even understand that there is something called an Atma, and then only once you understand what there is something called an Atma, then only you will know what that Atma is. So your spiritual progress is completely hampered by desire. So this karma completely destroys your discriminative power, thereby preventing you from attaining Jnanam and Vijnanam, which leads to moksha. So this is how desire works. This is how desire destroys a person spiritually. You may fulfill many desires and do very well in life in terms of wealth and other things, but it leads to destruction of your discriminative power, which prevents you from attaining the ultimate goal of moksha. Now let us go on to the next verse, verse number 42. Indriyani padamyahuhu indriyebhyah param manah manasastu para buddhyor buddhe parastastu saha. So here Krishna is explaining what is Atma. So he has said permanent solution to taking care of this enemy is to gain the knowledge of the Atma, because without understanding that you will never have any fulfillment of your desires, because you will always be incomplete. You may own a house, you may still feel incomplete. You may own the entire town, still you may be incomplete. You may own the entire country, still you will feel incomplete. You may own the whole earth. So there is no limit, and whatever desires you satisfy, it will never be exhausted, because desire, like we saw in the previous verses also, is like the fire. The fire consumes everything. There is nothing, and it is never satisfied. Anything you put into the fire, it will consume. There is no limit to how much it can consume. Same thing, desire is like that fire. So desire is a symptom that you feel you are incomplete. Without this, my life is not complete. Without a family, my family is not complete. Without a house, I am incomplete. Without a car, I am incomplete. Without a position, I am incomplete. So this goes on and on. So there is no limit to the desire. So ultimately, we should understand that there is a difference between luxury and necessity. Luxury is when you enjoy something, as long as you have it. For example, maybe staying in a 5-star hotel once in a while is a luxury. We go there, stay, enjoy whatever week stay. You get a prize or something, 1 week stay in a hotel, 5-star hotel. You go, you enjoy that luxury, and you come back, you go about it. But if your desire is to stay in a 5-star hotel all the time, then it becomes a necessity at some time. As long as it is a luxury, you enjoy it. And when you don't have it, you don't miss it. So we should understand everything that is given is a luxury, including the body, the mind, the senses. Whatever God has provided, it is a luxury. So enjoy it. Don't let desire overpower you. So here, to understand what is Atma, Krishna is trying to further elaborate. And in this teaching system, there is a particular system which is called Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. You might have heard of this concept where during the marriage ceremony, one of the ritual is to see the Arundhati star. So how do you see? If you point out directly, there are so many stars in the sky, you will not know which is Arundhati star. So you first say, okay, can you see the moon? And next to the moon you see another bright star. Next to that there is a group of other stars. Next to that, if you see, there is one star which is looking, maybe shining in a particular way. That is Arundhati star. Or you look through the tree and then you say, you see that branch, you see that leaf, you see that flower. Behind that, if you see, you will see one star. So this is called Arundhati Darshana Nyaya. So where you the object you want to locate, you locate in a step-by-step manner. So similarly here Krishna says, sense organs are superior to the sense objects. Because without sense organs, you will not know what sense objects are. For example, for a blind person, the object of vision is any object he cannot see visually. So for him, without the sense organ, all the sense objects, visual objects are useless. So without sense organs, whatever you have around, so for a deaf person, if you say, okay, how beautiful this music is, if a person is deaf, he cannot hear that music to enjoy it. So sense organs are superior to the sense objects. Next is, the mind is superior to the sense organs, because without the mind behind the sense organ, you will not be able to first understand what is the sense object, and neither you will be able to enjoy it. So whatever you see or hear, you may see a person, you need not recognize him because your mind is focused on something else. It happens many times. We are looking for something, we are walking across and another known person comes in front. We are looking at him, seemingly looking at him, but our mind is not there. And that person may feel offended because as per him, you looked at him but you didn't acknowledge him, you didn't smile at him. But your mind was not there because you are focusing on something else. So mind is superior to the sense organs because without the backing of the mind, the sense organs cannot be effective. They may work, but they may not be effective. And what is superior to the mind? What is superior to mind is the intellect. Because the intellect only, mind is something which is having two parts, you can say. One is the emotional part, other one is the doubtful part. So it's the mind which gets emotional, it sees emotions, and it also always has doubt. Should I buy this? Should I buy that? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I go here? Should I not go there? So the mind is always in doubt. So we all go through this. Similarly, emotions also. Now the intellect handles both these. Both these two factors are handled by the intellect. So when we have an emotion, the intellect takes care of it based on the understanding which we have already built. So for a person who is a jnani, you can say, he is not disturbed by emotions. Not that he doesn't have emotions, but he is not overpowered by emotions because he knows how to handle them. A person who is not a jnani may be swayed by the emotions and he may succumb to the emotions. Same thing with the doubts also. So the intellect helps us to manage our emotions as well as clear our doubts. Should I do this or should I do that? So the intellect says, okay, if you do this, the result will be this. If you do that, the result will be something different. So you choose between these two and then the intellect says it is better to do this. So intellect is superior to the mind. And what is superior to all of this is the Atma. Because the Atma is the one who gives that, who provides the consciousness, or it is under the light of this Atma that all these other things function. So the Atma is what enlivens this. So even if I say I know something, it is because of Atma. Even if I say I don't know, how do I know or I don't know? If I say I don't know something, how do you know that you don't know? Or when you say I know something, how do you know that I know? So this happens because of the presence of Atma. So the Atma is the one which is backing all this. So only in the presence of the Atma, all these things function. Without the Atma, these things, it is like all the electrical gadgets function because of electricity. Independently, they cannot work. You have a bulb or a fan or any other gadget. They all work only when there is electricity. If there is electricity failure, none of these can function on their own. Similarly, Atma is the electricity which enlightens all the others. So basically, that is why it is superior to all of this. So sense organs, we move from the gross to the subtle, and the more the subtle, the more powerful it is. So what is sense organs are gross, mind is subtler than the sense organs, intellect is more subtle, and Atma is the subtlest. And the subtlest is what is the most powerful. So this is the Atma that Krishna is talking about. So understanding this Atma is the permanent solution to taking care of desire. Because once you know that you are the very source, you are complete by yourself, there is no need to fulfill any desires, because we are looking at desires to become complete. So when you are already complete, you don't need to fulfill any desires. So that comes only by understanding, and Bhagavad Gita or any of our scriptures only talk about this Atma. Now let us read the last shloka in this chapter, 43rd. Krishna concludes